Ms. Vice President, thank you for being with public television here in Greece. You just concluded your visit here in Athens. You met with the Prime Minister, with the Minister of State, with the Foreign Minister. Could you say a few words about those meetings? What did you talk about? And what was the purpose of your travel here to Greece?
I will start by the last words you said. And first of all, thank you for inviting me. The purpose of my travels to the member states is that I would like to support the best possible preparations for the European elections in the sense of making the electoral system more resilient against the cyber attacks, against the disinformation campaigns, against the abuse of AI technology, for instance, deep fakes should not mislead our voters. So the discussion about the strong system for the elections is always present in my discussions. But with Mr. Prime Minister Mitsotakis and the ministers, also an important topic was the rule of law and the media situation. And we had a fruitful debate because we work well together with Greece on every year rule of law report, where we objectively, as the Commission, assess the situation in all the member states. And we issued last year the recommendations which the Prime Minister and ministers told me they work seriously with.
Okay, before we get into the media situation, the rule of law, let's focus a little bit on the upcoming European elections. What is the level of concern for possible external intervention and maybe hidden manipulations? And what measures did the Commission take to safeguard the electoral procedure?
You mentioned yourself hidden manipulation, and this is the bad use of technologies, and AI is the new kid in the block. Yeah, we must not underestimate that. When your talking head is saying things which you would never say, I saw myself saying incredible things, and it was produced in 30 minutes. Yeah, so hidden manipulation and abuse of technologies. The second risk is, and I already mentioned it, it's the cyber attacks. And here I think that the member states already invested a lot in making the technological systems more resilient. I received information here that every day there are attacks on your ministries. So we have to count with it, and we have to adapt to this new era and develop sufficiently strong systems against such attacks. And the third thing is the foreign influence. And I have to mention here Russia, because Russia desperately needs to change the people in governments and in the European Parliament and in the Commission. They need to see their new people who will say, we will stop support for Ukraine. This must not happen. Mr. Putin will not roll out the red carpet for the people who will say, we will stop support. This would be existential mistake.
From what you say, I do understand that the role of the big technological companies is crucial in safeguarding the elections. Did you have meetings with its leadership at the central level to make sure that they are on board on protecting the procedures and guarding all of us from disinformation?
I have many years of discussions with the big tech. And out of my 10 years in the Commission, 8 years were about gentlemen agreements. Could you please do more against hate speech, child pornography, horrible images of children being raped, really disgusting stuff, extremism, terrorism, gentlemen agreements. And I referred to our criminal law in all the member states. Look, this is a crime, so don't spread the crime. Now we have the law. Now they are already under possible sanction. So it's a game changer. The Digital Services Act says clearly you have obligations, stop distribution of crime and guarantee some kind of fact-checking of disinformation, because here we don't want to be too tough, because we have the priority of the protection of the freedom of speech. And lately also they are preparing for the AI Act, which says that they have to label the AI production.
So you think that the Euro elections will be a crash test for also the balance between the civil society and the big techs?
Indeed, in many member states, not in all, because in some states the Russian influence is not that big, but also maybe the preparation of the society is higher. I always like to mention Finland, where the society is quite resilient. But I think that we have to focus on any other elections. And national elections, parliamentary elections, regional, local, it's fully in the hands of the member states to organize the elections. For me, my humble role is now to come to the member states and say, look, there are new kinds of threats, and where can I help?
Yeah.
This is my offer, also
Makes
to
sense.
support something.
You also had meetings with a group of journalists and NGOs here in Greece. What issues did they raise? And what's the Commission's take on the role of the media in the public discourse here in Greece, the freedom of press and the rule of law?
Wherever I go, wherever I speak to media organizations, journalists, they raise the same issue, and it's the lack of money in the journalistic sector. The money disappeared. The money of advertisers was shifted to the big tech systems. And I don't have enough concrete answers on how to, in fact, correct the failure of the market. Because what I hear from the media is, could you guarantee that there will be public money helping us to survive? And I say, well, this is the last resort. Why should the taxpayers pay? Of course, it would be good if the people, the citizens, are willing to pay for highly professionally prepared text. It's all fine. But I would first look into how the market works. What I am telling the media and what I told them today is, we adopted the Media Freedom Act, which should protect you against the political pressure, against the usage of the spyware, against pushing for the international information sources to be disclosed, against the pressure of the owners on editorial freedom. I informed about the Media Freedom Act, which is protecting the media against the big power of the digital platforms. And it was nothing new, but I am alerting also in the member states that the Media Freedom Act should be fully implemented. Then we have the anti-SLAPP legislation against the abusive litigations. This is also what I spoke about with Mr. Prime Minister. And then the recommendation which we issued to all the member states to protect the journalists against different kinds of threats.
Is Greece adopting? Is Greece improving the situation?
I see some improvement. Also, I was discussing today with the media task force, and I had confirmation also from the media that there have been measures taken. Of course, for every member state, when the injured journalists or murdered journalists appear, it's a big reputational problem. And it's something which also does not show the system of protection of citizens and justice in a good light. That's why Greece also is taking measures now.
But what you were just implying is a strong systemic issue with media organizations in Europe. You described it in a very, you portrayed it in the best possible scenario. And is the Commission proposing any different tools to enhance their role as a pillar of stability in European democracies?
For the media, we see a very key and important role in democratic system. First of all, our Media Freedom Act says the following: in every member state, there should be a stable source of news, evidence-based news, offered to the citizens. And here I have in mind the public service media. And I really pushed hard to have in the European law the rule that the public service media will have sufficient funding financing either from the fees or from the public budget, and transparent and non-discriminatory rules appointing the key people in the management and in the boards. And then the commercial media, of course, they should keep independence, and they should be reasonably financially healthy. That's why I told you that wherever I go, I hear from the media, our main problem is the lack of money.
Your visit to Athens takes place hours after the Iranian attack on Israel. We are still, of course, waiting for the ways that Israel will rebuttal, but regardless for its decision, how do you think Europe should react on the recent turmoil?
President Ursula von der Leyen already reacted, as well as Joseph Borrell. We strongly condemn the attack of Iran on Israel. And we see as a very dangerous endeavor which could escalate the war in that region and bring incredible suffering for the people living in those countries. So I am now watching big diplomatic activity, and there are two messages. One for Israel, that they of course have the right to defend their territory and their citizens. At the same time, we hear that there are signals for some kind of patience or careful consideration how to react, because of course the danger of escalation is very, very big.
Greece recently voted legislation to legalize same-sex marriage and cross-party support and establish the postal voting for the upcoming European elections. What are the additional reforms that could offer the country an incentive to reach a point where it would be leading towards a more inclusive society?
Well, these are both things which I like very much because I believe that the same-sex marriages should have the same rights, and the same when it comes to the distant vote. I think that it's a very good step forward. Well, in the field of inclusiveness, I always, in any member state, speak about the need to create the same conditions for the children from the families which have some kind of weaknesses or vulnerabilities to have equal access to education. And it applies to the children from different ethnic groups, but also for the children who live in poorer families. I think that our obligation is to create good conditions for every child, and so here comes education at first.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Vice President.
Thank you.